I got some questions recently about my begonia and how it grows so tall. Let me scoot this over so you can see. But how it grows so tall upwards and not outwards like begonias usually do. And the answer is I've staked it. And this isn't something that everybody should do to their begonias, but it fit my space better. And I just liked the way it looked a bit better. So I'm gonna show you how to do that and why I did that. And hopefully you can do it to your plants as well if they need it. So let's get into it. So first things first, I'm gonna take out all of the stakes so you can kind of just see how it would look, partially, more or less, because since it's grown up with stakes on it, it's not gonna be completely how it would have grown, but it will just show you the difference that staking makes. So I'm gonna take all those out real quick so you can see that, and then we'll put them back in and I'll show you how to do that and kind of how to go about choosing where to stake it. So here we go. That is my begonia without any stakes in it. And as you can see, it's very wide. It's still quite tall just because it's on a plant stand. Probably be easier if I took that off to show you. So it's on a plant stand, just in a cash pot, and it's just very wide. And it's still such a cool look for a begonia, especially like this long one right here. But I just don't have a space this wide, so it didn't fit my needs and my wants for my plants. So let me put this back on its stand and get a bit closer so I can show you exactly what to do. So you won't really be able to see the stakes in here. I only have two, and they're not very big stakes just because I didn't need very big ones. But when I got it, it came with the sticks in there, so it was just easy to add to. And I've also got these plant clips that you can clip around the plant and the stake together to kind of stick them together. But if you don't have those, you can actually just use like rubber bands, or even I've used hair clips before. And that's basically what these are. They just don't have a little spring in them. But these have different levels that you can clip them on, and I would just always stick to the lowest level because you don't want to damage the stem, which is what actually, I got this plant from Costco, and it looks like some of the stem was damaged previously when it was staked up. So you just always want to be really gentle with it because it's not the natural way it grows, so you just don't want to force it into anything. You just want to kind of guide it, and that's the point of stakes. I have this long one, which is what we're going to work with first, and this stick, which is right here covered by this leaf. So we're going to just pull him up and kind of just where he would naturally sit, which is kind of right here. And he's already outgrown the stake a bit. He's like double its size, but he would sit about right there. And I'm just going to move him right there. So he's sitting flush against the stake right now. If I can rotate him to show you. There you go. So I've pulled him up, and the way he's sitting is flush against it, and that's not forcing him anywhere. It's literally just how he would be if it was standing straight up. And then I'm going to take my clip, put that around both of those, and just clip it on the lowest setting. And then there you go, he's up on the stake and it's not hurting him at all. His stem still moves within that stake a little bit, and I can move it up and down slightly. And it's gonna damage the stem a little bit just because you can't really avoid that a lot of times when you're using the clips. If you're using like a rubber band, that's a lot more gentle, so that's not gonna irritate it as much. But now he's standing up straight and he'll grow this way. He'll still grow out a bit, but the main bit of his stem is straight up. So it just changes the trajectory of the plant a bit more. So that way he is facing forward and facing up rather than facing out and taking up more space horizontally, if that makes sense. So then we come to the other side of this, and these plants aren't, like this side isn't as wide just because the stems aren't as mature, but I'd probably bring him up here. I previously had him staked down here at the bottom, but now that he's grown a bit more, I'm probably going to stake the top because that's a bit more natural of a growth pattern for him, and it just brings him a bit higher up, whereas before he was coming out a bit because it was staked so low. If I bring him up, he's just growing a bit more like upwards rather than outwards. So we're gonna do the exact same thing. Take a clip and once again put it on the lowest setting so he's just sitting there. And so now he's taken care of, he's growing up, and then we've got the last one over here, which there's no stake associated with this stem. So we're probably going to put him on one of the other stakes that we were using. It kind of just depends on which way he is tending to go. So it's, I really just kind of play around with it and see which, direction he naturally follows. I don't know why this plant's a he, but we just decided that, I guess. Yeah, I just kind of go with however the plant's growing. So it's just not a harsh transition and it's a lot easier on him. So this one kind of follows that same growth pattern as the first stem. And I'm not going to put the clip exactly where the first clip is, which is where this plant kind of meets up with, because I just don't want to double stack them and that would be a bit harsher on the plant. So I'm probably going to put the clip a bit lower down here, and that's going to be on that first stake that we had as well. And once again, lowest setting. And that way, there you go. There you have the plant. He's all staked up. And now he's growing more vertically rather than horizontally. And he looks nice and happy. And this is just a way to guide their growth. And as he gets bigger, I would probably get more clips and bigger stakes to kind of get him in place a bit more. You can keep the original ones in place, but you don't need to clip it all the way down because like I said, you're just guiding the plant to get to the direction you want it to be. So you don't want to overdo it and force him into a pattern that he doesn't want to be in, because that just wouldn't be pleasant for anybody. So yeah, that is my begonia, and that is one that's actively vining and growing. But let me show you one that's a bit more of a support stake that I had to do when I first got the plant, but this one isn't a permanent thing that constantly needs to be updated or changed out or anything like that. With my Ficus Elastica ruby, I have 3 bamboo stakes in here. I believe they're bamboo. I don't know if they're wooden. I have 3 stakes in here, and it's because when I got the plant, it was completely the stems and the trunk basically was completely curved like that, as if it was in the wind when it was really little, and it just didn't grow properly. So I put 3 stakes in to hold up the tree to grow properly and grow straight up, so it wasn't having a hard time as it got older, and it kind of solidified in that curved state. And actually I can probably take a couple of the stakes out, which I might do now actually. So we're going to, this is one of the stakes right here, and this is the stem that was associated with that. And if I take out the stake from the soil, you can see this stem is still a bit curved, but it's basically growing straight up. So it's not really having any issues, whereas before it was completely curved to the side like that. Whereas now it's nice and upright and it's nice and strong. So that was the purpose of that stake, and that was the way it was on the other side of the plant as well. There is one stem that still curves a little bit. I actually have one of these stakes in there with that side, and then just a regular rubber band that I got from the produce aisle with some broccoli or something like that I tied around it. And that's kind of just trying to help guide it as it grows to get used to being a bit more straight up. And the rubber band that I have around it isn't forcing it. Once again, it's not forcing it to grow any which way, but it is just rather guiding it and loosely tied around it to say hey, get back here. So it grows straight up and it doesn't keep growing in a compromised position like that bend was. So yeah, that is basically why you should stake your plants, whether it's just for cosmetic reasons like the begonia, or if it's for structural integrity reasons like my Ficus Elastica. But I hope this was helpful, and I hope it can help you with some of your plants that you have, whether they need help to grow better or whether you just don't like the look of them and you can change that. The moral of the story is just don't force it to do anything it doesn't want to do, and always be gentle with it, because plants don't want to be treated harshly, just like we don't. So make sure you're taking care, and thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you later.